Hello. Good evening. Looks like we do have Dr. Dan Kessler. Hi, Dan. How are you doing?
Good evening. How are you? I'm great.
Good, good, good. I think this is going to be a very quick podcast because we are both in a rush to head to play tennis, but we also realize that there is something bigger tennis than what Dan and I play here. We have something known as the U.S. Open that both Dan and I traditionally head to the Arthur Ashe Stadium. So we're here right now in the semifinals, Dan, and let's quickly. I'll just give the listeners a quick update on who is playing, and then we can dive a little bit into the matchups. So we do have, interestingly, all world number 1 to 3. You have Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Medvedev, and also one of the American top, youngest American player, Shelton, who's in the semifinals. So the first matchup is between Djokovic and Shelton, and then the second one is between Alcaraz and Medvedev. So, Dan, your initial thoughts before we head to New York tomorrow?
Yeah, well, the initial thoughts are that it's quite amazing. We're going to see the top three players in the world. That doesn't happen too often. I think you sent out a trivia question earlier. It's not since 2011 have the top three seeds made it to the semifinals. So, that's kind of unique. It used to happen quite often in the ladies' draw where there wasn't as much parity, but in the men it was much rarer. It has been happening, I guess, a little more often with the men when now you've had the great three for a while. But so that's my initial impression is that we're going to see three of the greatest players, or the three greatest players in the world, plus the arguably the best American prospect at this time, Ben Shelton in the matchup. And our predictions kind of held true. We didn't really go out that far on a limb or anything. We both kind of said Alcaraz and Djokovic. I think we're going to get to the finals. That was our initial prediction about 2
Right.
weeks ago when we did our podcast. So I think we're both right in that respect. Right now I think all these players are looking really solid. Djokovic had a scare early on in the tournament to his countrymen, down 2 sets to love, actually. And then, he was, on the ropes, but he regrouped, took a nice long break, as you pointed out, and then came back firing away. So that was his scare. After that, he's kind of cruised afterwards, I thought. Alcaraz has been as usual, steady self throughout. I think he's probably just kind of pacing himself and probably saving his best for the last two matches here. He looked, solid against Zverev, playing a little more defensive than usual, I thought, but he's, I think, saving his best for these next two matches. And Medvedev in his post-game press conference said that he's playing 10 out of 10 right now. He thinks he's playing his best tennis of the year right now. So that's great that he's peaking. I think hopefully we'll see a great match between Medvedev and Alcaraz, a lot of 20 and 25 ball rallies. I'm thinking in that matchup. Whereas Djokovic and Shelton, I think Shelton's going to be looking to end those points fast and be the aggressor and just try to, really hit big, huge first and second serves and big forehands. So we'll see how that. We'll see if the moment is too big for Shelton or if he's able to live up to the hype. So that's kind of my impression. What do you think?
Yeah, I think to your point, right? Let's just quickly recap the quarterfinals. And like you said, Djokovic did get a little scare with his countrymen, but he's been solid throughout. And then same thing with Alcaraz. Alcaraz has had one four-setter, I believe. That's it, against the player from England, Evans, I think. But the other than that, he's been pretty much in straight sets. One stat that I did see when he played Zverev yesterday was that he had been on the court 9 hours, and then Zverev had been on the court for 14 hours.
Oh,
And
wow.
while Zverev did play well, I think Alcaraz just wore him down. Eventually, it would be those very critical break points. And Djokovic has been like a machine, like we both said. Shelton had a very big win against Tiafoe, who was our last year's semifinal winner, if you recall. So, and Medvedev has been solid. Like, he's won this tournament before. So it's interesting that you're probably going to see not just the three top players, the three players who've actually won the U.S. Open,
That's true.
I believe, in the last 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
so, and we'll get our stats kind of check. So, to
Actually,
me,
Djokovic, I don't think has won the U.S. Open in the last 3 years. I think our
maybe
stats
the fourth year, I think he was banned for one
wild.
year. So 3 out of the 4 years they won. The three players have won. I do think that Shelton. I think the entire stadium, you're going to be rooting for him, except for you probably and a few other Djokovic fans tomorrow. But I I feel that Shelton's this moment will be too big, like you said, and then Djokovic is going to prevail. I do think it's straight sets, maybe four, maybe because of the emotion and things like
Yeah.
that. But Djokovic in four. The other match, I don't know. I mean, I think Alcaraz is definitely the better player, but just watching Medvedev just dismantle Rublev every set that Rublev played against Medvedev, he was up.
Hmm.
So, and he lost all three of them, and it was a straight set victory for Medvedev. So he's solid, and I think no moment is big for him, like like Shelton is. But that I may think may go to a five setter. I still think it's a Djokovic Alcaraz because I think we're going to stick to our guns in terms of who will be in the final. But that's where I see the matchup going right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be two classic matches. Like you said, I think Djokovic maybe probably in four, and then hopefully Medvedev Alcaraz. Hopefully we see an all-time classic. Maybe that'll somehow go five. It's what's interesting is that two of these players, Medvedev and Djokovic, are going to be the crowd is going to be on their case. I think Medvedev is not a favorite of the crowd. He's had a history at the U.S. Open with the crowd getting on his case, and he kind of
Mhm.
thrives on that, as does Djokovic. I think he thrives being the underdog and kind of he's used to that role. So I think both these players are mentally obviously so strong if they're this
Yep.
great, and they're going to thrive. I think on the more the crowd gets against them, they're going to really, I think, bring out the best in them. It'll be a great dynamic being there.
Yep. And I think we look forward to the matches tomorrow. So we're both aligned in terms of who's going to go to the final. I think just a little, I would say, you have him in maybe four sets. I think I have Djokovic in maybe four initially. I was thinking, but let's see. I mean, and then the next one will be a five setter. I mean, hopefully, like you said, is like a classic like Sinner and Alcaraz last year. But that's where we are. We're really like we were just about 12 hours away from heading to the U.S. Open, so really excited about it. And hope for the good matches. We also have other men's doubles matches that we'll be watching along with some women's doubles, I think. So we're looking forward to a great day of tennis tomorrow, and we'll probably do a match. Maybe a preview of the finals or post finals, but we're ready to go. And thank you, Dan. I know it's we're ready to head to our tennis, but I think it was good to catch up and get this out of the way.
All right. Well, that sounds like a plan. I can look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And quick shout out to our driver ELP, who will be taking us down there tomorrow.
All right, you got it. All right. Thank you so much, Dan. Have a good
Okay.
night. We'll see you soon.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.